In the wrestling world, the people are represented by two separate but unequally important groups. The wrestlers and bookers, who literally do all the hard work, and the fans, who endlessly nitpick and overanalyze everything they do. These are their stories.
Hey! It's Warhorse, and you need to shut your mouth, open your eyes, and clean out your ears, because it's time to listen to the Raw and Order podcast. That's right, they're bringing you the best in all that meaty podcasty goodness in one, an hour? Two? Who cares? Who gives a shit? You need to listen to it right now, or else Warhorse is gonna, roll your ass!
Welcome to another episode of Raw and Order, the Wrestling Booking Unit, the only wrestling podcast on the planet with me on it. I am your host, Detective Mark Smarts, and I am joined, as always, by my partner in crime fighting, District Attorney Vincent Kayfabe. What's going on, man? How are you?
No, it's just...
We can play this game. Anyways.
You said it's the only one with you, so I'm just going to let it be you.
I didn't say it's the only one with only me.
Oh.
See, semantics are important. No JLB this week. He is not feeling well today, so we wish him the best. But we're just going to talk about the latest in professional wrestling and what happened over this week. No new bombshells this week, like there were last week. So, no new announcements of a major show happening in a major city. Rumors have it that the Vince McMahon in charge of creative have calmed down a bit, and he may still be kind of high level, overall storyline sort of a thing, but day-to-day creative is back to Triple H, at least for the time being.
And it showed this week.
It did. It's hard to really judge this week because, in fairness, Raw
Monday got messed up a little bit.
Was kind of a mess because half the roster couldn't make it to the show, and so they just kind of had to throw together what show they could with the people that were there.
Well, and in their defense, this is the closest they've ever been in Nebraska to a sellout, which...
well, that was on SmackDown, but yeah.
Yep. So on the other show, the reason that it wasn't exceptional, because we don't show up in Nebraska. Yeah.
But it was the most profitable show from a gate-wise that they've ever had in this area. So, the trend is upwards.
Yes.
And that could mean for good things in the future. I feel like they'd probably have better attendance if they came on a Monday.
Well, they did with us.
Was that Monday? No, I thought it was a SmackDown before. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I feel like the Mondays would get better. They were supposed to come here to Omaha on a Monday night, and then the stupid Panorama happened. And...
Panorama, huh?
Yeah. The Panini.
Okay.
The Panda Express. No.
I would not be upset about Panda Express happening. That's all I'm saying.
I got sick after eating Panda Express one time and haven't been back since.
I'm sorry, brother.
And I fully admit it probably wasn't the Panda Express that made me sick, but my brain has made the connection, and it's going to take some time.
The hard part, in a particular type of food, you get sick off of it, the right kind of sickness along with it. Mm-hmm. Dude, I didn't eat pancakes for like 12 years.
Yeah. That's my point. My brain made the connection, and it's going to take some time for my brain to unconnect those.
Yes.
So, anyways, for Raw, started off with Finn Balor versus Rey Mysterio, which seemed kind of thrown together. If I were a betting man, I would bet it was originally supposed to be Damian Priest, or maybe Dominic directly involved, which he did show up afterwards and uh, issued a challenge for a rematch and all of that stuff. But Balor, here's the deal: we know Balor's been dealing with a third-degree tear in one of his calves, as well as he got, what was it, like 12 stitches
Yeah.
in his
Head.
head.
His cranium.
You know, you'd think. Uh, my wife just messaged me and said, "You're never gonna want to go to Panda Express. It's been like 10 years since that happened."
Hi, Mrs. Smarks. Good to see that she's listening.
Eventually, I probably will. It'll just take time.
It's the power greens. They're so delicious. Worth it.
But
Not the best Chinese food, but it is definitely the healthiest.
I think that's really kind of what it comes down to for me is I now live in a town that has so many other choices for Chinese food that
It wouldn't have been the best in your old town either.
no, but it was one of the few real choices. Like there was restaurant Chinese food, there was buffet Chinese food, and there was that. Right.
And there was fast food Chinese food. Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of it for the fast food Chinese food.
Yeah.
Because the other
really
ones are buffet style, you know?
Yeah.
And so, but where I live now, I've got a bunch of other choices, including some really good restaurant style Chinese food. So, anyways, back to this. So I suspicion it was originally supposed to be like Damian Priest, but he must have been one of the people caught up in the travel bug. So Finn Balor had to do it. It was a decent enough match. I mean, Finn Balor versus Rey Mysterio is always going to be a good match, right? But it was relatively short and just didn't like have like
Certainly
a
didn't
storyline
have
built.
all of the ability that those two could have.
Mm-hmm. You had Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan won the titles by beating Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus. The storyline was, of course, Becky and Lita are the champions. Lita gets attacked backstage by a mysterious person, and Trish Stratus goes and convinces Adam Pearce to allow her to take Lita's place in the match. So they had the match, and Trish Stratus turned on Becky afterwards. She took the pin, and then afterwards turned on Becky.
Because if
So
they'd have won, she wouldn't have turned.
probably, it's the theory. But so that this is something, I actually predicted it happening at WrestleMania. So they kept it off a couple more weeks before they did it. But the Trish Stratus Becky turn, something that I kind of knew was coming. So whether they pulled the trigger on it because of the travel issues or whether they just had it planned and it worked out, we don't know. Bobby Lashley versus Bronson Reed ended in a double count out.
We know how big a fan of Bronson Reed you are, so we're just going to let you soak that in for a minute.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, this match didn't have to happen. This is like, was anyone out there clamoring for Bobby Lashley right now? We want big matches for Bobby Lashley.
Bronson Reed? No.
Yeah, we want big matches for Bobby Lashley again.
Yes.
Right? And this just seems like a step back for him. But of course, they're trying to build up Bronson Reed, so they couldn't have had him lose in a squash in any way. So,
yeah, it was sad. And not a great match.
No. Then you had Cody Rhodes give a promo.
You give a promo. You give a promo.
Like I still believe Cody Rhodes is one of the best stick men in the business. But like all he does is give promos and lose right now. I know I'm exaggerating. He's lost one match.
Yeah,
but
in the entirety of his return, he's only
lost one match. But that's just what it feels like. You know what I mean?
Well, I really am. And the general talking head of fans in the webosphere, on the World Wide Web, tends to be, I think you missed your shot. You're going to have something really good here.
Mm-hmm.
Most people are giving them the opportunity because of what the last year and a half of WWE's been. But under the same token, most people are going, I think you missed your shot. This needs
I'm
to
one
be
of them.
really good. I am going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I think I'm giving them more of the benefit of the doubt than you, maybe.
Here's my deal is do I think that Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar won't be a fun match? It'll be a great match. Everything. But it does not matter if they
It
have
would
him
be
build
just
his way
as good
back.
if Brock was on for the title.
Yeah, it would be just as good as if Cody was the champion, right? Because here's what it comes down to: is right. You tell the story of Cody working himself back up into the main event and challenging again. That means he challenges at what SummerSlam in a couple months,
Yeah.
Survivor Series.
I think SummerSlam's enough time to reach the coveted 4-digit mark in days.
Yeah,
Which
but
is, I really think, the only reason they did that.
but here's the deal: is nobody ever talks about I got my SummerSlam moment, right?
That's true.
Nobody does. SummerSlam's not about the moments. It'll never be as big of a stage as WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be clear here, even next WrestleMania won't be as big of a stage as this last WrestleMania. This was WrestleMania in Hollywood with 80,000 people there each
Nothing wrong
night.
with Philadelphia, bud.
Yeah, they're not going to get 80,000 people both nights, I think. And it just won't have the glitz and glam for it. It just won't. It's Philly, right? Like,
Listen, man, one of my best friends was born and raised in Philadelphia.
mm-hmm.
Spent most of his days on the playground.
Yes. And then what did he do? Fucked off to Beverly Hills.
Yeah, because that's what you do when you're from West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground. Sorry.
Here's the deal. Philadelphia, this is what it comes down to. Philadelphia's NFL stadium is the only one, or it used to be, I don't know if it still is, but was the only one in the entire NFL that had its own court system and jail in it because of the way the fans are there. It's not going to have the glitz and glam of a Hollywood WrestleMania.
So what you're saying is, if for any reason Cody doesn't win at WrestleMania next year,
yeah,
people are gonna fucking riot.
Well, yeah, they riot.
That was right after the 15-minute mark too.
Yeah.
I nailed that.
Yeah, they riot when their teams do win too. There's a chance there's a riot either way, right? Cody standing triumphant, yeah. Them saying, "Let's burn it down." Anyways, it's just not going to be as big of a stage one way or another, and we were ready for that WrestleMania moment. That WrestleMania moment was a full year in the works. And that's why I think they blew it. Will Brock and Cody have a great match? Awesome match. Will Cody go off and have matches against other big names, leading his way back up to the thing? Yeah, he's going to have great matches. Will him eventually winning the championship be a big deal? Yes, but it will never be as big as it would have been at WrestleMania in Hollywood.
You know, here's the deal. I really think I'd be about 12 times as into this storyline if it was Brock challenging for the title.
Yeah.
Like, I understand it's a prop. I understand we've said numerous times that the title needs to move around more.
Mm-hmm.
Brock challenging Cody for the title instead of Brock challenging Cody for... You had a spot I wanted.
You didn't win the title, and that made me angry, apparently, I guess. Because here's the deal: is Cody with the belt facing against Brock puts us for the first time in 3 years with questions over who's going to actually win. Right? When was the last time we actually questioned who was going to actually win against Roman, right? Yeah. Cody was the only one. And that's because we
I mean,
expected Cody to win.
we rooted for Sammy, but I think all of us knew that Sammy
Yeah,
was going to win.
we knew Sammy wasn't going to win. We hoped he would, but we knew he
It would have
wasn't.
been a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, it was not a question whether someone would win. It was a hope and a prayer. Other than that, like, I mean, I guess was it 2 years ago when Finn Balor faced Roman? You had
Yeah.
hope that they were going to pull the trigger on it. I didn't. I had no hope there. And that's the deal. It's Cody winning the belt from Roman, and then one pay-per-view later facing Brock Lesnar. I would have literally think, are they going to hotshot it to Brock Lesnar now? I would have not known the answer to that. Now I'm just like, man, whatever. Anyways, Usos versus Alpha Academy ended with the Usos winning. Io Sky defeated Piper Niven and Minchin for a sort of number one contender spot for
That was an interesting schmoz way to get there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. But they had Bailey there. Like I don't know.
And then the main event was Kevin Owens versus Solo Sikoa.
I'm honoring our fan.
Oh, did someone? Someone did. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them.
Some probiotic water. Hashtag still not sponsored, so it's going to be the back side of the water that you'll see here. How you feeling, bud?
Feel hydrated.
Why the shave? I gotta ask. I'm not over it yet.
Basically, you know, I'd said a while ago, once the weather around here got above 50 degrees regularly, like for 5 days straight. Because
and then you had the cold ass day.
And then we had the cold ass days, yes. Mostly, I don't know. I felt it was time for a change. I had a pretty thick beard, and I decided to go down to this. I kept this part long for the time being. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Knows? Ooh, I dig the Hangman shirt, by the way.
Yeah. It says cowboy shit, but they put the star over the eye.
Yeah. Cowboy shh.
Cowboy shh. SmackDown was, of course, a little bit better, because a little bit more cohesive because it didn't have the travel issues. And of course, with Matt Riddle back, they're working him into the Bloodline storylines now. Although,
you know what, I dig it. I dig a growing offensive against the Bloodline. What I don't dig is, why doesn't Cody give a rip anymore?
Yeah.
And why do they not give a rip about the fact that Roman has the title anymore?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Cody came out a week ago and said he wanted a rematch, and they said no, and apparently he effectively was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, let's just do something then. Something.
I guess no rematch.
Let's have Brock attack me?
I guess no rematch. It's fine. It does look like they're maybe setting up for a more serious Matt Riddle, less jokey.
I also think there's a path there on that Cody front. I think they're trying to write the story a year later. I think they're going to have him win Money in the Bank because that was the original plan to get him the title.
Maybe.
I still think they missed their window.
Agreed. They did announce that the April 28th episode of SmackDown and the May 1st Raw will be the draft for drafting for each show. And that every member of the roster will be eligible for the draft, so it could be a big shakeup.
I also feel like they're going to break the news to Roman at that point that they're breaking up the titles.
Mm-hmm. Even if they just set it up where they say, listen, at this next pay-per-view, you have to defend one of the titles. Not both of
Yeah.
them, just one.
Just
You know
one.
what I mean?
Or not at the next pay-per-view, SummerSlam.
SummerSlam or whatever. You know,
Or
but
Money in the Bank or whatever, yeah.
yeah. At the next one,
Well, by
you're
doing that, they can technically have a Money in the Bank for Raw and a Money in the Bank for SmackDown,
mm-hmm,
which the roster is large enough to do. I don't like it. I like the
mm-hmm.
combined Money in the Bank.
Well, and they probably still will do that because what they'd previously done is which one is they going to go after?
Yeah,
Which one?
yeah, and I think there's value to that, not being forced to stay on your own brand.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's weakness here, and that gives you some crossover without it being all the time crossover brands. You sound like you're gonna open a pack of cards.
I'm getting close to it. Right now I'm fucking with the front of it. Xavier Woods defeated LA Knight in a throwaway match, but it was an okay match, so I'm not gonna complain too
Anything that
much about
gets
it.
you LA Night on your TV on a mic is a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rumors have it, and this is where the rumors negate what you're thinking is going to happen. So we'll see uh, who's right or not. But rumors have it that LA Knight is on their top of their list for Money in the Bank winner.
Ooh. I'm okay with that too. I just
But so
yeah. Oh man, him cutting promos with the Money in the Bank. That'd be
exactly.
fun, and he can play chicken shit heel well too. So
Damian Priest defeated Santos Escobar. They had the whole LWO together out there. So they're definitely going all in on that. But I do think it's funny them going all in on the LWO when that was a WCW thing.
thing.
But
It's a really good
anyways,
way to honor Eddie too, because that was an old Eddie thing. And Ray
thanks
wore
for
an
the follow.
LWO
I'm
shirt.
gonna start X Krieg.
Excreg.
Thanks for the follow. Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan gave Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville a shot at their women's tag team belts. So that's coming up. Shinsuke Nakamura defeated Madcap Moss. Just returning Shinsuke and then just feed Madcap Moss to him. That's, I guess, how you do it. Backstage, the Viking Raiders beat up Braun Strowman and Ricochet. And then the main event was Solo Sikoa versus Matt Riddle. That ended with Solo Sikoa continuing to be victorious. He's only lost one match, and that was to Cody Rhodes. So, a fairly decent SmackDown all in all.
Yeah.
Gonna go ahead and open one of these packs. I was showing DFA before it. I had not seen any of the hanger packs for any of them, and I finally found some on here. So I'm gonna open a hanger pack and see what I can get out of them. These are the Panini Prisms. I do also have a box of Chronicles that I'll probably open on Tuesday night's show. Rookie card for who the fuck is Stevie Turner?
Could be worth something someday. Might not be worth the paper it's printed on.
Possibly not. A Chad Gable flying through the air.
Worth something to you, bud.
A 1/2 of Pretty Deadly.
I think that tag team works on main roster. What are your thoughts?
I like Pretty Deadly.
I think that works.
At first, they came off as a kind of an imitation Fashion Police sort of a character, but they've evolved a bit, and I do like them. An Ultimate Warrior.
Worth more than you'll give it credit for right now.
A Demon Finn Balor.
I have that card. That's a great card.
A Zoe Stark.
Definitely worth more than you'll give it credit for because you don't like her.
Not a fan. Zia Lee. I wish they would do something with her. Maybe the
Even if
draft.
it's back to NXT.
Yeah. You can tell how long ago these were printed. A Raquel Gonzalez. Before she got renamed to Rodriguez. A Leaping Biggie.
Love that card.
Tell if this is prismatic. Braun Breaker.
Bro. Oh, wait. Wrong kind of brawn.
My first red, white, and blue. Roderick Strong.
I believe you'll have 3 of those in that pack. Red, white,
Yep,
blue.
I believe you are correct. But that is literally my first. Second red, white, and blue primate.
Sorry.
Third red, white, and blue Tommaso Ciampa.
Cool. Is that an NXT or a WWE card?
I think that's WWE. Nope, NXT 2.0 it says on the back.
Well, he was the first 2.0 champion.
Yep. A gold Shawn Michaels.
Ooh.
And a fearless Drew McIntyre.
That's cool.
It's a pretty good deck, all in all. I gotta be honest, it's been so long since I've looked through my Prism level cards. I'm not sure how many of those are duplicates, but just the reminder, any duplicates that I come across go in my big old stack of duplicates. And when we get 10 new subscribers, we will draw from our subscribers.
Easy way to get yourself some cards, especially if you have an Amazon Prime account.
And again, my duplicates include the Prism. They include the AEW 2022s. They include the WWE 2022 Chronicles. They include some NXT. They include some of the WWE Selects. Bunch of different options. So, whole bunch of cards that you get. Gonna move on to excuse me, AEW. Dynamite. Dynamite was a fun show. I was really into it. I was having a lot of fun because there's a guy I follow on TikTok who mostly covers WWE.
Okay.
And he was watching AEW for the first time ever. Like, he's watched their pay-per-views. He's familiar-ish with them, but he never watched an episode of Dynamite. So he was live reacting to the episode of Dynamite. And it was really kind of fun to watch this guy who's a WWE fan at heart, but overall a wrestling fan, get introduced to Dynamite on a really good episode of Dynamite.
Yeah.
You know, started off, of course, with the absolute fire match, Darby Allin versus Swerve Strickland, which I absolutely loved this match. Darby and Swerve have a long history on the Indies, so bringing that to Dynamite was good. And, you know, getting to see kind of a different style of wrestling to start off things for him was fun. Of course, in the end, Darby Allin got the win. And then afterwards, MJF came out to the stage and delivered a speech, you know, interrupting Darby Allin's celebration and accused him of just being like, what did they call it? Daddy daycare with Sting. And all that stuff.
Not really a daycare guy.
Yeah. And then Sting came out and delivered a great Sting promo. I'm a old school Sting fan, so for me, I enjoyed that.
I didn't
Uh,
think it was as Sting as you do.
it
The more pom pom thing was both ridiculous and good. Like I liked it, but it was also absolutely ridiculous.
that's what it, this was
It
an
didn't
old school
captivate
Sting
me
promo.
and made me go, huh?
This was something more like pre-Crow Sting would have given as a promo,
Yeah, it
and
was
that's why I
interesting.
liked it. This was
Maybe
charisma
maybe
amped up to 11, Sting. But the only thing, it made me a little sad because in it he did say that Showtime is almost over for him, but it's just beginning for Darby Allin, and that's his way of saying that he's almost done wrestling himself, and he's 64 and he deserves to retire and relax and stop putting his body through shit. But it's always going to make me sad that my
favorite
favorite
wrestler.
wrestler of all time is almost going to retire. I hope I hope AEW is at least has enough foresight to come up with something for him to continue to be involved. You know.
And it may be the coaching thing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, promo class with Sting. You know.
I'd love to have him host a Saturday morning show.
Yeah.
There's got to be a way to go. Here's the deal, and I'm not trying to pretend that you appeal to Gen Z and younger the same way you appeal to millennials and Gen Xers. In no way, shape, or form am I saying that. But that said, there's also two generations of people who their first exposure was likely Todd Pettengill on Saturday morning giving a rundown show.
Mm-hmm.
Because we couldn't take the televisions away from our parents, and there weren't multiple televisions in the house. Maybe our dads watched, but Smarks, I'm going to bet that you're in the same category I am, and your dad probably didn't watch wrestling.
Nope, sure didn't.
And your best time to get television was probably Saturday morning.
Well, I don't think we're going to be getting a Saturday morning show. However, we'll come back to this later, but reports have it that AEW is close, like within a few weeks from announcing. In fact, it's going to be announced in a few weeks. Network upfronts are early May, usually first week of May, and reports have it that it's set to be announced first week of May that AEW will be getting another show that will be a Saturday evening show, 2 hour wrestling show.
Oh.
And
And it
so
won't be ROH.
it'll be
AEW.
AEW. And that because of that, they're looking to do what they're calling a soft roster split. They're not going to do the full Raw versus SmackDown, two different belts sort of a thing, but that they are going to have separate storylines for each show and basically separate rosters, you know.
God, I feel like they can do it with ROH.
The ROH, and here's the thing, I think the ROH thing has passed. I think Warner already passed on Ring of Honor, and Tony's got a vision for it that's not as uh, Warner Media friendly. He wants it to be a little edgier. Um, and the Honor Club has it. Warner Media reportedly put a hard stance on Jay Briscoe, which is sad that they did, from someone who had atoned for his words and apologized for his words. But anyways, they put a hard stance on it, and that's why they passed on Ring of Honor. Um, but more specifically, they feel that they've developed a brand for Warner Media in AEW that they can tie AEW to Warner Media, and Ring of Honor doesn't have that tie.
No, that's true.
Um, and so they already they've announced two new shows over the time, the Rampage and then the All Access, which, by the way, if you haven't been watching All Access, I encourage you to. It is actually a really fun behind the scenes show that
Has some serious notes to it as well.
adds some serious notes to it. It does not stick to kayfabe, although I suspicion we are getting slightly worked by it. Um, on the show, Britt Baker repeatedly in interviews has questioned uh um totally blanking on her name now. I hate getting old. Don't get old, people. Um Other women's wrestler, former champion, Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa. Uh who questioned Thunder Rosa's honor, questioned her work ethic by saying, "Hey, listen, when I was not cleared to wrestle, I still showed up and cut promos and did all of this stuff. When I was women's champion, even when I wasn't scheduled to wrestle, I still came to be there and be a presence. And you were women's champion, and you disappeared, and then you were we made an interim champion, but you didn't come to cut any promos or anything like that." I suspicion, in my mind, I feel like that's too much of a setting up for when Thunder Rosa does come back from injury. Now there's a grudge match between the two of them, sort of a thing. That's just my feeling. That's just the way my gut feels on it. But anyways, but so Sting came out and basically said that Darby Allin's got a lot of future ahead of him, and he will be world champion soon. You'll have your challenger here in a bit.
I really think they're leaning very heavily into the pillars facing MJF.
Yeah, I think it's going to end up being a fatal 4-way at one point. But I do see a fatal 4-way and then maybe some individual matches afterwards.
Yeah, I see maybe a fatal 4-way and then MJF getting his second title reign. Obviously, would have plenty of excuse to say that I didn't even lose.
I could see him even winning the fatal 4-way, but then still setting up, Darby or Jungle Boy saying, "Hey, listen, man, I would have had you if it hadn't been for Darby, fucking Sammy Guevara costing me my shot." So
it'll be fun.
You then had Powerhouse Hobbs versus Silas Young. This was a squash match and a half. And it made me a little sad because Silas Young is a former Ring of Honor television champion.
Yes, he is.
For him to get squashed so fast. But at the same point, Silas Young is also not young, despite his name. And so, but then afterwards,
Eric.
I do not believe any relation to Eric.
No, he's not relation to
Eric. Eric Young, by the way, reportedly has been signed to a backstage role with WWE since November. So Eric Young working backstage in WWE now.
Oh. We didn't know that.
Before the match, Powerhouse Hobbs had showed him arriving to the arena in his tricked out, I think it was a Monte Carlo. I'm not a car guy, so I'm not 100% certain, but classic car, rims and everything. Uh, and then after the match, the screen showed Wardlow out there
Beating his car.
beating the crap out of, and this was something straight out of like 1990s WWF WCW. Uh,
Yeah.
guys in the ring. What are you doing to my car? Yeah, beat up the car. Take a forklift and flip it over. No, no. But I loved it. I mean, I don't know. It's right up my alley. Something late 90s WCW WWF. I'm there for it. Um, then you had the AEW International Championship, Orange Cassidy versus Buddy Matthews, and this was a really good match in my book.
I've never seen Buddy Matthews look so enormous in my life.
Yeah, he looks huge and he's a big guy, but next to Orange Cassidy, he looked ginormous.
Here's the deal: when Orange Cassidy's in the ring with, say, Kenny Omega, you see a 180-pound guy versus a 235-pound guy. You can see it. When Buddy Matthews is in there, the shorter, stockier, stacked Buddy Matthews is in there with Orange Cassidy. Suddenly you look at it and you go, God, how's that dude only 225 pounds?
Yeah.
Which is only 10 pounds lighter than Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
But he's in the ring with Kenny Omega, he's slightly smaller. And you don't think about the fact that we've treated Buddy Matthews as a cruiserweight for so long. We forget the fact that dude's big.
Yeah.
And struggled to cut weight when he was in 205 Live.
I really liked the psychology of this match because it was based off of they had attacked Orange Cassidy prior backstage and hurt his hand. And was he going to be able to deliver the orange punch, his finisher? Matthews focused on that injured right hand to keep it out of play. And in the end, he didn't hit the orange punch to win. He was able to get the mousetrap, which is one of my favorite variations on the surprise roll-up. So I really liked it. I thought it was maybe match of the night.
I love you, man, but did you just say favorite surprise roll-ups?
Variation on surprise roll-up, yes. I'm not a hater of surprise roll-ups like other people are. They're a viable way to win. Here's the thing, though.
They just can't happen too often.
They have to happen in moderation, and more specifically, the thing that I hate that WWF does or WWE does too often is the person who does the surprise roll-up acts surprised that they won.
Yeah.
And the only person who should be surprised is the person who got pinned by the surprise roll-up. Right?
Correct.
And so I'm fine with them when they happen infrequently, but I thought it was a fun match. Then you had All Ego Ethan Page upset over what happened the previous week when Matt Hardy betrayed him and led to him losing. That's going to lead to something that's announced on Rampage, which will be coming up on this week's Rampage. A 4-on-4 match where Stokely Hathaway, All Ego Ethan Page, Big Bill, and Lee Moriarty versus Matt and Jeff Hardy, Private Party, and someone else. Anyways, in a Hardy compound match.
You're just excited to see the Hardy compound back.
I love the Hardy compound. Now, part of this
rejuvenation.
yeah. Now, part of this, I will say, let's talk about the elephant in the room, though, because I mentioned his name. Jeff Hardy did make his return, and it's controversial. And I understand it's controversial, and I understand that I don't know how to feel about it. Because on one hand, I am a firm believer in second chances and third chances and fourth chances, as long as someone is contrite and tries to better themselves. And all reports have it so far that Jeff Hardy is that, right? But along the same lines,
Fool me once, man.
this is not just a second or third chance. This is a fifth or sixth chance, right? Now his license has been suspended for the next, I think it's 9 years. Um, all of his cars have been impounded. He's on probation. Like there's only so much that we can do, you know. I feel like we can't continue to punish him more than the courts are punishing him, right? He's got to be able to try to earn a living, but at the same point, I guess I'm just having faith that Tony Khan backstage has some controls in place that say, listen, I'm going out on a limb to let you back. Don't fuck me over. Here are the rules, right? You know, no drinking. Anytime you're you know, period, right? You are a representative of our program now. I'm going out on a limb, no drinking. There are quite a few members of the AEW roster that are teetotalers that don't drink. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks being on that list. Maybe pairing him up with them and saying, "Listen, I know you're the veteran and they're the young stallions in this thing, but maybe you can learn from them a bit on this." And
Some accountability
Mhm.
type stuff, and
Yes.
he may have that in place already from working his program.
Yes. And that's my point. I just have to have hope that, faith that there's a lot of backstage controls. Now, I do have to say, however, that it has been interesting watching all the WWE fans come out of the woodwork with how horrible it's been that AEW let Jeff Hardy come back after his DUI. When the week after Jimmy Uso had his most recent DUI, he won the tag championships. Um,
Yeah, they had to wait for him to get out of jail.
yeah. And so, it's kind of a let's call a spade a spade. You know, Jimmy Uso has had maybe not quite the length of problems, if only because his career hasn't been as long. But has every bit the problems. And if we're angry about Jeff Hardy coming back, we should be just as angry about Jimmy Uso wrestling every week.
Yeah.
So it is controversial, and I understand, and I do understand if you're a person who falls on the line of this is my hard line. I will not support Jeff Hardy. I understand. There's going to be a time on each week where you're going to turn off the TV.
Yeah,
But
I understand extra chances. I also understand
there does have to be an end, right?
creating certain boundaries for
Yes.
yourself.
And that,
hopefully he's created those for himself.
yeah. But that's why I just have to have faith that there's in the background for AEW controls in place that say, listen, this is your last shot. If you mess this up,
there is a lot of life that has happened to the Hardy brothers, and there's a lot of life that's happened because of the Hardy brothers that's been aired on television.
Mm-hmm.
The two has been mostly to Matt. The because is mostly with
Mm-hmm.
Jeff. Life did not happen to Jeff when he came to the ring too drunk to stand.
Yeah.
Life did happen to Matt when he was in a hospital and Lita fell in love with Edge.
Mm-hmm. So,
My hope is that the two of them can come together and boy, that's a really odd way to end the sentence, so I can just leave it at that. My hope is that the two of them can come together.
come together right now
Over you.
over me.
You. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. No.
Nope, over him.
Not over me.
His name's
I do
Eileen.
not like that.
His name is Eileen.
You do not come on Eileen. That is rude. Unless Eileen asks for it specifically.
So anyway, my hope is that I mean at almost 50, Jeff gets the help he needs and has a submission to that help when the time comes.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. Relapses are part of recovery. I mean, I'm not saying that everybody relapses. I'm saying that is something that happens to a lot of people who are going through recovery. And my genuine hope is that he's honest with himself when it happens, or if it happens again. And I pray that it doesn't. I really do.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal: is the hope is that the relapses are what's already happened, and that he's finally to the place where he can.
Now we're just at okay.
And some of it is him admitting he has a problem, which it seems like he has. Him surrounding himself with the right people, which I hope he has. But I mean, in the end, like, I'm always of the mindset that I hope that people can turn their lives around and make their lives better. I always will be that way, right? So here's hoping on this. Moving on AEW Dynamite, Brandon Cutler and Michael Nakazawa got the crap kicked out of them by Claudio Castagnoli and John Moxley.
Yeah,
that was going to
happen. The
happen.
Blackpool Combat Club.
Yes, they've turned them into the most vicious.
I mean, they're House of Black
pit
6
bulls.
months ago.
Yeah, they're pit bulls. Is what
they're
they
meaner than the House of Black.
Well, yeah, because the House of Black was always about not proving that we're more violent, but proving that we're better, right? But Blackpool Combat Club right now is about proving that we will beat anyone up, right?
Yeah.
But in the end,
it will be interesting to see Bryan Danielson return.
Well, he is back as part of them. He hasn't wrestled yet, but he's back as part of them. Because he delivered a promo about how they are the best wrestlers in the company. Anyways, at the end of this, though, you had Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks make their return to come out and chase off the Blackpool Combat Club.
Could we see a remotely managed Blackpool Combat Club? The remote manager being, we all assume, William Regal, sending them a message when Danielson and Moxley are arguing over leadership. Is it going to be a breakup? Where do you see that going?
I see Danielson being the de facto leader, but I really I see these as right now they are going to be that gang of stray dogs that doesn't have a true leader, and because they don't have a leader, that's why they're so vicious. They just attack anything that comes in their way.
I feel like it's a ship with gale force winds and no rudder.
And that's fine. I think that's what I like them as. Now they do have, obviously they're setting it up where Bryan Danielson is the one kind of leading them. But what I see is the storyline being told is now that they don't have William Regal to rein them in, now they're just going balls to the wall. They're going all out.
To structure their destruction.
Mm-hmm. So, anyways, and then we move on to Rampage, which started off with Aussie Open versus the Best Friends. Aussie Open with the new IWGP Tag Championships that they just won. did defeat Best Friends to retain.
Best friends.
We had Jay Briscoe, not Jay Briscoe, Mark Briscoe, sorry, Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, and Satnam Singh versus the tag team 8-man tag of Spanish Announce Project and Jack Manning, the Man Scout. That was just designed for it to be a squash match, but it didn't even actually I think have a match. I think it just was like they came out and beat them all up. Anyways, that was where they announced the Ultimate Deletion match at the Hardy compound. Hardy's Hook and Isaiah Cassidy. That's who it was. Emi Sakura came out and challenged Taya Valkyrie and got beat. And then afterwards, Jade Cargill and Layla Gray attacked Taya Valkyrie. And then the main event featured Jungle Boy Jack Perry versus a returning, first time in months, number 10, Sean Spears. The perfect 10.
I was saying, the Preston was number 10.
This was actually a pretty good match. Sean Spears did not play heel in this match very much. He was sort of babyface, which was interesting. He did mention before that he's no longer friends with MJF. He doesn't speak with MJF anymore. So it's going to be interesting to see whether this is going to be the start of a face run attempt for Sean Spears. Who knows?
They're struggling to find something for him. I thought they had it with the chairman. I really did.
Yeah,
That's
I was a
how
little
much
bit
Cody
frustrated
puts people over.
that he came back with the mohawk shaved head thing, because I don't know if you saw the Instagram or let's see if I can find it. Picture that he'd tweeted out about a week ago. He had long hair. I almost didn't recognize him at first. But I like with the long hair, I could have seen him coming back with a new look just in general. Maybe not the full on long hair, but something different than the um the same old. If that makes any sense.
I don't know. I feel about Sean Spears like Matt Hardy feels about Edge. Still my girl, man.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't know anything about it.
This.
He just looks like a heel with that smile, or a face with that smile.
That's my point. Like I'm not necessarily saying go with the full long hair sort of a thing, but you've got all sorts of opportunities to turn that into something different, something new, something fresh for him, and they did not. But anyways, but so that was AEW Rampage. I'm gonna open another pack of these cards.
Okay, I'll leave you on full screen there.
Start off with Mansoor. This is prior to him joining the Maximum Male Models. King Woods. Ikuben Jiro. Nikki Still ASH. Caden Carter. Wild Boar from NXT UK. Batista.
Batista.
Ridge Holland. A duplicate of the Demon Finn Balor.
I feel like if there was ever one you wouldn't put in your duplicate pile,
They're all going in the duplicates, my friend. A green Roderick Strong. The first of my red, white, and blues. A no longer with the company Sasha Banks. Santos Escobar. Apollo.
Apollo.
And a next level Brock Lesnar. And finally, a prismatic entrances Roman Reigns.
I feel very saddened by Sasha Banks making our Sasha Bear shirts.
I know. Because Mercedes Money Bear doesn't sound right.
No. I'll try to have it in a conversation at some point, Mercedes Money Bear.
Yeah. That's such a Mercedes Money Bear sort of thing to do. Oh man, I just said it. We better make a
T-shirt.
But yeah, so that's basically the breakdown of the main shows. In terms of other news,
now we're boycotting them because their fans can be tool bags sometimes.
Yeah, I'm not boycotting them.
No, I know. I'm just playing.
I just I unfollowed one of them because he's a tool bag sometimes.
To wrestlers.
To wrestlers and to me. You know, here's the deal, man. I'm opening the last of my hanger packs because I'm a fucking addict. Good news is I will never be pulled over for driving under the influence of cards.
Give it time.
Here's what it comes down to. Just to put all the cards on the table. This is Necro, is who we're talking about. Necro Eric, who was a follower of the show. Might even be
on the show a couple times.
Yeah, came on the show. Might even be lurking. If you're there, you'll hear us. You know,
who we were big fans of.
Big fans of him. I don't know if there's anyone who can say he's been a bigger cheerleader of Necro Eric than me. You know, but I just got so tired of it because every time I'd open up Twitter, all he was doing was dragging all of the shows, like literally tweeting at Tony Khan about how bad the booking was, and how, you know, you're not giving anyone a chance to shine and all of this stuff, how bad it is. And it just negativity, every show, negativity. And it was even the indie shows. Oh, I can't watch this show because the spotlights are set up wrong. I can't do this show because the whatever, you know. And it's just like negativity. And finally, he's tweeting, you know, before Dynamite this week, and he's like, you know, how bad the show is and all this stuff. So I just comment on it, say, hey, then don't watch, man. If you hate it so much, don't watch it. You know. And he quote tweets it back, and he's like, I just love it when uh, you know, some of these little shit brains or whatever, tell me not to watch a show. If you had two brain cells to rub together, you'd see how bad this wrestling was. Like, man, I've said it before. I will say it 1,000 times. It's one of the things I love about professional wrestling is that uh, there's something for everyone, right?
There are people on this planet who watch WrestleMania 17 and go, that's shit.
Yeah. There's something for everyone on this planet. And you can like something and dislike something else, and that's fine. But don't yuck someone's, what they like. Yuck someone's yum, right? I worked for 10 years as a radio DJ, and it was one of the first rules you learn as a radio DJ, especially for top 40, is every song is somebody's favorite song.
That's legit.
And you can have your preferences, and you can say, I don't like this type of music, or I don't like that. I'm not a huge fan of country music, right? But I'm never going to say your music is bad because it's not my music, right? I like what I like, you like what you like. It's the same thing with wrestling. He absolutely hates what Dynamite's been doing, right? That's fine. I understand. I've been liking Dynamite, especially the last 4 weeks. The booking's been solid. The promotion has felt fun. A lot of fun stuff has been happening. The matches that Orange Cassidy versus Buddy Matthews match was fire. That Darby Allin versus Swerve Strickland match was fire, right? I had no problems with those. But if you don't like them, that's fine. Guess what? There's 1,000 other wrestling shows to watch. Watch your other stuff and let me watch what I watch, right? It's simple. We've occasionally talked about not liking some of the things that WWE has done.
We've actually had conversations about not liking some of the things that AEW's done.
Mm-hmm. And we've had conversations in the past, not a lot recently, but in the past about, hey, I don't like what WWE's been doing. I might stop watching for a while, right? But never once in any of those conversations have we said, the people who do watch this are stupid.
No.
If you enjoy what WWE is doing, more power to you. Have fun with it, right?
Mr. Beast has over 100 million followers. There's different tastes for everybody, man.
Mm-hmm. So I ended up tweeting at him, like what you like, don't be a dick, which is a t-shirt that Brian Zane from Wrestling with Regret has. And then I blocked him. I said, I'm done. I'm done with your negativity, man. I was your biggest cheerleader, and now I'm just done. Because you couldn't get out of your
way. To the point where you offered to pay for his mic
and
camera for him to start his own stream about the stuff he likes.
Yep. And instead, he decided just to spend his entire time yucking other people's yum. Anyways, this pack, final pack of the hanger packs. Naomi. One of the Creed brothers.
Julius.
T-Bar, now back to Dijakovic. Or maybe he's back to Dijak. I don't know. Commander Aziz, who now is back to something else. Babatunga or something.
Yes.
Aaliyah, who got called up to the main roster and has done fuck all since then. Joe Gacy.
Love that guy.
Bailey. The new NXT Women's Champion, Indy Hartwell.
And new
Kevin Owens. In the middle of a frog splash, it looks. a, I believe, prismatic Zoe Starks. First red, white, and blue is a Jordan Devlin,
Now
who is
JD
now
McDonough.
JD McDonough. Second red, white, and blue, Boa, who hasn't done anything recently. Third red, white, and blue, Carmella.
Man, she's money.
A prismatic entrances for the returning Shinsuke Nakamura. And a fearless Goldberg, who reportedly is no longer under a WWE contract, leading to some people calling for Tony Khan to book him for their Wimbledon show. I think that would be a horrible idea, but doesn't stop other people from thinking that'd be a good idea. Before we get going, I did want to mention the Wimbledon show. A lot of people are talking about the Wimbledon show, trying to judge whether it's going to be a success or not. We're not going to know until the show fully, right? But we will know something here soon. Tickets go on sale at the beginning of next month. I want to say the 5th. Already, though, there has been almost 60,000 people who've signed up for the pre-sale.
What?
Now, not all of those people will go to the pre-sale, because sometimes people sign up under multiple email addresses, hoping that one of them gets that access. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And some of those who signed up for the pre-sale are definitely brokers who are going to buy tickets to then resell later. So it doesn't necessarily mean butts in seats. But if 50,000 of those people buy just one ticket, that's 50,000 seats sold. And more than likely, most of them are going to try to buy 2 tickets, which could easily end up being 80-some thousand seats sold.
Yes.
It does not mean 80,000 butts in seats, because if so many of those go to brokers, those then have to get resold later for a butt to be in the seat. But I think all signs point to this having been very successful. Right? Because in the end, Tony Khan, yes, he cares about how many butts are in seats because of an optic standpoint. But in the grand scheme of things, what he really cares about is how many tickets were sold, because that's where he makes his money.
Yeah. How much money can you draw?
Mm-hmm.
And more important, or equally as important, is what kind of ad revenue can you get from that?
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, if you listen to 83 Weeks, oftentimes, and this particular week, this is the first commendation that event is one of the first commendations that have been made by Eric Bischoff to Tony Khan, saying, "That's a great move, man."
Mm-hmm.
So
it's a big deal, right? And if they sell 70,000 seats and only fill 60,000 of them, it still will be the largest non-WWE, non-Asian event since like the 1930s. That's a big deal. That's a big fucking deal. That's taking it straight to WWE. The other thing I wanted to mention, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but the Saturday show. Reports have it will be a, like I said, a soft brand split. Soft roster split where you're not gonna be advertised as a, I think they're calling it Collision, is what the reports have it. You're not gonna be a Collision wrestler or a Dynamite wrestler. you're an AEW wrestler. But there will be storylines that happen on Collision. There will be storylines that happen on Dynamite, and that's not going to cross over directly. So you can be an AEW fan and just watch one of the shows and follow that storyline. Right. There's speculation that I think some of the speculation simply comes because of timing, because the reports had also come out this week that a certain Chicago-made Phil has been in talks with AEW about coming back and has pitched ideas on how to work. So there's speculation that the Saturday show might be, I don't want to say given to Phil, because that makes it sound like here, this is your show. But a way for them to put Phil on one show and the Elite on another show. You know what I mean? So you keep the locker room separate a bit for the time being.
So, obviously, an indicator that the animosity may still be there.
Yeah. I think they've been trying to turn it into a work. Between what Jericho's been saying, what CM Punk's been saying, and what the Elite have been saying, I feel like, in my mind, these all have the hallmarks of CM Punk's going to come back, and now it's going to be a program.
A shoot work.
It's going to be, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's going to be turned into an actual program between them where the Elite get to be the good guys and CM Punk gets to be the bad guy.
And Mark Williams, CM Punk has done good heel work in the past.
CM Punk is a phenomenal heel.
We don't have to see him be the rising from the ashes former WWE guy who's finally getting his shot again or taking his chance again. We can see him as a heel who fucked all at multiple organizations. Like, that works. Self-important. What? Self-important prick who's pissed off people in multiple places? I can't imagine that. How's MJF's title running? What? Yeah. So very true.
So, someone on Twitter the other day posted, me in 2023. I'm so tired of the what chance anymore. You know, can we just get over doing that? Also, me in 2023. I will buy this shirt, and it's just WWE has a shirt that just says "what" on it. Stone Cold Steve Austin on the bottom. I really want to put out a shirt that just says, "No, seriously, what?"
No,
I need to know. I mean,
hold on. Let me turn these up.
Yeah. No, I'm serious. What? I couldn't hear you. Anyways. But yeah, so CM Punk as a heel is
a
money
without having them have them in the ring with each other if you don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe they can sit down, eat some tacos together, and go, well.
Listen, I said it from day one with this thing. If CM Punk can put on his big boy pants, apologize for what he said, sit down with them and hash things out as adults, right?
But did you offer tacos?
I did not. That is something you did bring to the table here, and that's a very good idea, right? I think with CM Punk, it might have to be muffins,
Yes.
or ice cream sandwiches, either one. But you just sit down and talk it out and be like, listen, because here's the deal: every person who reported on this thing says CM Punk thinks that the Elite were the ones spreading the rumors about him. And every single one of them says the Elite were not my sources for these rumors. So going on what I know right now, based on all of this stuff, I have to say, I don't think the Elite were the source for the rumors. Who was the source for the rumors? I don't know. But everyone says they weren't the Elite, right? So having him just say, "Listen, man, I'm sorry I got angry. I thought you were the source for these rumors, and I took it out on you. Um, but it let's work together. Let's together make this company the biggest it is."
I would pay money to have a television segment though of the Bucks coming in with CM Punk ice cream bars.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, hey man, I'm gonna sit down. We can talk over these, and
Mm-hmm.
just having him be like, yeah,
Yeah, that's my
just
point. Is
something to make it fun.
yeah, but just because I do think I've said it before, CM Punk in the ring, even at his advanced age, I'm using the air quotes because he's not old by any means, but in terms of wrestling, he is not the spring chicken he used to be. Even at his age and all that stuff, he delivers some of the best in ring storytelling there
Yeah,
is. And as long as he
yeah.
can keep his ego in check, he could help take AEW to the next level, right? Or he could continue to
I
sit
mean,
out.
let's be honest
You know?
about it. Is there a chance that AEW is at the next level? We don't measure television the way we used to measure
We
television.
don't. That's ultimately what I need to. I've been saying it for years that I think wrestling fans as a whole get tied up in ratings so much. Every week the ratings come out and they analyze the ratings. Oh, AEW didn't break 1 million again this week. They're doomed and all this stuff. Ratings only count people who watch it live at the time that it's airing on a network, right? If you are watching it on DVR, you're not counted. If you're watching it streaming, you're not counted. If you watch it the next day, you're not counted. If you tape it and watch it later, you're not counted. You know,
Yeah.
if you are a person who pirates it, it's not counted. If you are a person who lives in a different area, like overseas, you're not counted, right? And in this day and age, less people have cable than have ever had it before, right? Or at least in the last 30 years, right? Back in the 90s when Nitro and Raw were getting 4 million viewers, right? Non-major sporting events don't get that anymore, right? Period. Because less and less people have cable. More and more of them have some sort of streaming service. And that doesn't get counted in the ratings, right? Um, More and more people consume on YouTube, right? And so, you go to YouTube uh, and you bring up AEW's uh, webpage. Let's see here. Let's go to videos. 41,000 views, 76,000 views, 126,000 views. 126,000 people have looked at the Sean Spears versus Jungle Boy highlights on AW on YouTube. Uh, Rap Battle of the Acclaimed and JAS, 131,000 views. Orange Cassidy versus Buddy Matthews, 161,000 views. Wardlow destroying a car, 287,000 views. Sting giving a promo against MJF, 354,000 views. The Elite returning to face off with Blackpool Combat Club, 485,000 views. Jeff Hardy's return, 855,000 views. That's as many as the same day live viewing of Dynamite, right?
Yeah.
It doubled its viewership for that segment on YouTube, right? Um, Streaming is the way people consume. Until you come and you say, "Oh, Dynamite only got 89 890,000 viewers," right? It's a failure. It didn't break a million. But then you add in that another 855,000 people watched the highlight of one of the segments. Now suddenly you realize that it actually did 1.6 million viewers for that segment in terms of actual viewer numbers, right? And it's the same for WWE. I'm not saying that this is entirely in AEW's favor. We go to the WWE website channel on YouTube. Let's look at something that had an actual. That's not like a rerun from before. Paul Heyman evoking legendary members of the Bloodline. So let's go. 132,000 views. They do a lot of rerun stuff on YouTube, so I'm going back. Let's see. Things that aren't rerun stuff. Bloodlines on a mission to destroy Zayn, Owens, and Riddle. SmackDown highlight. 1.1 million views. Brawl between Matt Riddle and Solo Sikoa. 212,000 views. Solo Sikoa buries Matt Riddle under the announce desk. 266,000 views. Heyman announces a title rematch featuring Owens and Zayn against the Usos. 330,000 views. Shinsuke Nakamura returns against Madcap Moss. 419,000 views. Rey Mysterio battles Dominic during Judgment Day attack on the LWO. 1.1 million views. I could keep going, but
how many of these people are rewatching, and how many of them are fresh views?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, how many of them are revenue producing items?
Almost all of them.
Yes.
And also, even when they're not revenue from that, do you know where WWE makes a lot of its revenue?
Merch.
Yep. Shop.wwe.com. Where its top sellers. Let's see. Let's bring up. Is there a way to see top sellers? Featured collection. I do have to say the new John Cena G.I. Joe inspired shirt is pretty fire. New arrivals. Featured catalog. They don't have a way to see top sellers right now. Anyways, they sell a shit ton of merch. Right? Absolute shitload. Anything that moves merch, anything that moves dollars to WWE is what they're looking for. Same thing with AEW, right? If you watch AEW Dynamite and you're one of the only 890,000 people to watch AEW Dynamite, but you see an ad for the AEW All Elite crate, and you go, "Oh, $35, I'll sign up for the t-shirts." Guess what? AEW Dynamite was a success.
Absolutely.
Guess what? AEW Dynamite was a success.
And they're a success month after month after month after month there.
Mm-hmm.
They become not a success when you say, I don't want this anymore. I'm not that excited about this now. Meh.
Meh.
Meh. We've had a lot of meh wrestling in the last 25 years. We've also had a lot that made me go, I gotta go to that. I want to see that. I want to do that. Yeah, I have a temperature of 103 degrees from a spider bite. Yeah, I'm still going to Raw. It was Raw. That's how I know. It was Raw. I was still sick from my spider bite.
Yeah, what cheesy poos.
Yeah, with cheesy poos. And that's another piece. If Utz Cheese Balls is right there, am I going to go buy Utz Cheese Balls because I watched that?
But so in the end, is AEW a success? Well, obviously Warner Media thinks so. Because they're giving them not just one new show, but 2 new shows. Right? They're devoting 6 hours a week to AEW programming. 2 hours for Dynamite, 1 hour for Rampage, 1 hour for All Access, 2 hours for the new show. 6 hours. Right?
Yeah.
Obviously, in Warner Media's mind, that's a success, right? So, hype train.
I don't think we're in the middle of a hype train.
No, we just have one set of hype, but that's all the hype it needs.
Yep.
Bop, bop.
Well, I think I can speak for both of us when I say I think we're all looking forward to some more wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I think I really need to see multiple storylines that I'm interested in. My ADD, my just in general society's lack of attention. Boy, I need stuff to come to fruition on a regular basis. And there's just not a lot that has me going.
Well, speaking of things that might draw your attention, two things. Number one,
Okay.
Drew McIntyre has blacked out his social media and removed WWE from his social media profile.
When does this contract expire?
We don't really know. Reports had it at one point that it was near, but they didn't ever say exactly when because contracts aren't public, so we don't know. But obviously, if it is near, the negotiations are not going so well.
No, they do not seem to be going well.
If he's removed the WWE from so and then the other thing is Edge's contract is up soon, and there's speculation that he is not wanting to resign and thinking about joining his best friend over on AEW.
Ugh. Are we allowed to say that Christian's the better get right now?
I think getting them back together as a short-term run in AEW would be fine. I think making sure you keep them as a short-term run would be the important thing.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I I don't think Edge has done anything great in WWE since returning.
Hey, come on, you have the greatest wrestling match of all time.
Yes, you do. You have that, don't you? Don't you wish your wrestling was hot like that?
Hey, they have the Raw Women's Championship Kids replica belt on sale for only $160. Should I get it for my daughter?
I mean, if you want, it's better than a Divas Championship.
Yeah. I don't think I will. But I would be lying if I didn't say I was tempted.
Boy, as I've been sleeving all of my cards, my son is definitely growing in his interest for professional wrestling, which is kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, which one's that? Oh, yeah. Do you have any Seth freaking Rollins? I think he looks at it as an excuse to say freaking.
Hey, I look at it as an excuse to say freaking. Anyways, so those are the two free agency rumors to talk about.
I think if AEW didn't pursue Drew, that would be a foolish mistake. I think the Edge thing can be 6 in one, half dozen of the other.
See, I think the Edge thing. Here's the deal: the Edge thing has a God. I'm gonna say the phrase I hate saying so much. Casual fan appeal.
I don't know. I think the casual fans in AEW's target market wouldn't know who Edge is. He's not Stone Cold. He's not The Rock.
He's still one of the bigger stars
CM Punk.
of the time. And if Christian brought in casual fans, arguably, Edge would bring in casual fans. And casual fans are also people who are current WWE watchers. Tune in to watch Edge. There's a chance. Now, again, it'd be, in my opinion, it's important for them to understand that there's, what's the word I'm looking for here? That you're not bringing him in to be your main card.
No, he's not a main eventer.
He's coming in there for a run in the mid card, for a nostalgia pops.
Yeah, I think the nostalgia pop is for the benefit of those with flash photography.
Exactly. You do some 5-second pose offs with Christian.
You maybe throw in a Matt and Jeff versus Edge and Christian wrestling match. No crazy stuff. Please. Please, we care. Please, we do. We do care.
Yeah, those sorts of things. And then again, much like we mentioned with Sting, coaching role. This is what I think AEW could really use establishing. Right now, one of the things that WWE has that is a benefit over AEW, it's actually an idea that they stole directly from WCW. WCW had the power plant. WWE has the performance center. AEW doesn't have something like that directly. Yes, they've got the Nightmare Factory / the Factory, whatever you want to call it, with QT Marshall.
The indie program.
Yes, they've got, ties with some indies and stuff like that. But what would be really great is if they had a training system of their own. Um, and I almost think the real way to do it would be to literally set it up as a school, where people could sign up for classes, right? Uh, and those classes would not be necessarily focused on the wrestling part of things. There's lots of places they can learn the wrestling things, right? It would be focusing on the being on a TV show part of wrestling. Because here's the deal, there's a big difference between delivering a promo at an indie show and delivering a promo on TV with 800,000 people watching. Right?
Yeah. So I'm going to ask a silly question.
Okay.
Was Tough Enough before its time?
I'm going to answer it in a silly way. No, because I think Tough Enough tried to be too serious about things. I think an actual here's the deal. I don't think a competition series of any sorts helps this sort of a thing.
No. No, and I'm not suggesting that that would be the route to go. But something similar to that where you can see their growth.
I'm thinking more an Ultimate Fighter style might be something, right?
But that was a competition.
It was, but it also was about. It was effectively real world UFC, right? Yes, there were competition parts to it, but that's not the part I'm focusing on. I'm focusing more on these people live together in a house where they train together and they take classes together on what needs to be. And that's why I say, in terms of for AEW, I don't think we need it to be a training, like a school for them in terms of wrestling, right? There's a lot of places, Flatbacks Wrestling Academy in Orlando, which is owned by Sean Spears and Tyler Breeze, right there. The Nightmare Factory or Factory, whatever you want to call it, with QT Marshall, right there. There are lots of places you can learn, right? Heck, Warhorse has a training academy you can go to in the Chicago area. I think it's Chicago area. Maybe it's St. Louis. Can't remember now. I'd look it up, but I don't want to. But there are lots of places you can go to learn the skills of wrestling.
Sure.
Right? But those skills of wrestling do not give you the skills of being in a wrestling TV show, right? And I've mentioned it before. The one thing that independent wrestlers often struggle with when they become televised wrestlers is the hard cam.
Yep.
They're not trained to look to the hard cam. AEW doesn't script their promos as much, so they need to be trained on how to script a promo. Here's the things that I need to work into this promo. Let's work on this, because there are people who are going up the card in AEW that still could probably use some work on that. One of them being Sammy Guevara. He gave a promo last week that really wasn't all that great. And it could have used some coaching on promo skills. But other people have done a lot of improvement. Darby Allin's promos now are light years ahead of the way they were 5 years ago.
It was great the other night.
Britt Baker's promos now are light years ahead of where they were at the beginning. Um, and so that's what I'm thinking is if AEW put together a coaching staff that could once a week hold seminars,
You're thinking an AEW masterclass.
yeah, like a masterclass sort of a thing that wrestlers could sign up for, pay a small fee, and learn from the best, right?
I.e. Sting.
Sting, yeah,
I.e. Edge. Christian.
Edge, Christian, Dean Malenko.
Quite frankly, they still have the enforcer Arn Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that guy can cut a promo. Dean Malenko. Oh wait, no, that was
It's the great Malenko.
great Malenko. Yeah, that's right. I know songs. I'm not a joke.
Let's see here. Who's listed on there? Da, 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 da. Arn Anderson, Don Callis, learning to deliver promos from Don Callis. You can hate him all you want, but
I mean that's up there. That's very similar. I don't want to say it, but if there's anything that somebody could teach, that this person could teach, it would be cutting promos. And Jim Cornette.
yeah,
And then have him teach how not to become the douchebag that you play on television.
mm-hmm. Therein lies the rub. Well, considering he recently compared the Elite to Hitler, I think he's burned a bridge there.
Anything for a pop, I suppose.
Yeah. But my point is, even outside of promo class, right? Even just one-off seminars from Dean Malenko on in-ring storytelling or Jerry Lynn on in-ring storytelling.
Yeah.
Right? One-off classes from, Rick Knox or Paul Turner.
Special visits from, i.e., one really good special visit, Al Snow.
Yeah. Bring the people. But also, here's the deal. It's because...
And then he put these online.
Being a wrestler sometimes is a crooked path, right? Sometimes you think you're going to be a wrestler, you train your life to be a wrestler, and you end up being a backstage interviewer or a commentator or a referee. Most referees started off their careers training to be wrestlers.
Looking at you, Brad Maddox.
Mm-hmm. And instead, did that. So the simple fact is, having a seminar where you can talk to Justin Roberts about ring announcer, where you can talk to Nigel McGuinness and Mark Henry about what it's like to be a commentator, even though you wanted to be a wrestler. These are people who both did the wrestling and are now doing the commentating, right? RJ City, independent wrestler whose now primary job in AEW is interviewer and host of one of their silly
of a comedic pod.
segment. Tony Schiavone. So all these having these master classes of these people that are not directly wrestling related, but even if they are like promo class related, right? You've got John Moxley on your staff, right? You've got CM Punk on your staff, right? You have them do a class on how to locate the hard cam, how to structure a promo. You know what I mean? how to not blow the lead and give the storyline away in the beginning of it, how to not get too excited that you
apart.
just right. There's so much that they can do with that. And here's the deal. Like there's a lot of people with AEW that could use this sort of stuff. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Dark Order, but do I think John Silver and Alex Reynolds and Evil Uno and Stu Grayson could probably learn a bit from sitting back and learning from Sting and John Moxley on how to deliver a promo? Yeah, I think they could learn a lot. And so, you open that up there. But anyways, that's just me kind of going on a rant. But I think putting together a school that focuses less on the actual wrestling and more on all the other parts of wrestling could be something that AEW could do that would be very, very beneficial to them. So, but well, we're about almost to 2 hours, so let's go ahead and wrap things up here on this here podcast. We will be back in a couple days with our fantasy booking. Hopefully, JOB feels better and can come back for then, because I have a big plan for it. I have a big game in store. But otherwise, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to this. Whatever platform you use to pay attention to it, do it there. Subscribe to us on Twitch. We get those 10 subscribers, and there's a big stack of cards getting ready to be packed up and sent away.
And who doesn't have Amazon Prime?
Yeah. Amazon Prime, it's free. Free to subscribe to someone.
Free.
You can also support us by heading to our merch store and buying sweet ass merch, like something like that autograph shirt that's right behind DA Fabe there. It comes with no autographs on it. You get it autographed when you meet wrestlers.
Get your own autographs.
Yes. The key is don't try to catch them outside their hotel or at a airport. They get pissy with that, as rightfully they should, right? The real key is go to actual meet and greets where they're prepared. You might have to drop $5 for them to sign a t-shirt, but you get those signatures and fill up the shirt, and you've got a one-of-a-kind thing. So hit up the merch store. There's all sorts of other stuff there. You can still get the Sasha Bear shirt at our Spreadshirt merch store.
Or you can get a Sasha Bear.
I think we can still do the Sasha Bears. Let me check to be certain. Other. Yep, you can still do the Bear. Gotta find the Sasha Bear.
Sasha Bear.
Scroll. There's the Let's Talk About Wrestling Bear. There's the Sasha Bear dog. I need the Sasha Bear. There we go. Sasha Bear. Sasha Bear.
Sasha Bear. Sasha Bear.
Sasha Bear.
Currently, all that we know that owns that is Sasha Bear. Sasha Banks. We did send her one.
Sasha Bear.
At her WWE address after she was no longer with WWE, so maybe she never got it.
Well, she was still reportedly with them, but she was not active, so we don't know. Anyways, but there's also ways you can support us. You can also support us with bits during the show or tips. Those are all on the profile. So go to twitch.tv/RonOrderWBU and click the profile page. You can see how to tip us there. You can also support us by just sharing this with your friends and family on your social media of choice. Say, hey, this is a show that I watch. You should watch it too. Um, but on that note, we're going to go ahead and close the book on the Wrestling Booking Unit. You can follow me at Raw and Order WBU. Just, I went the wrong way, just like it says right there. That's on Twitch and on TikTok and Twitter and YouTube and pretty much any place except for Facebook because they're weird. But you can follow DA Fabe at
DA Vincent Kayfabe. Right there.
right there. And otherwise, thank you all for joining us. We will see you soon.
Bye.